This is Natalina Love here with Rory Ray, our feminine energy genius. Oh, all of the things that we could talk about, so many things. And here's a really interesting question about asking questions. This, it feels a little bit silly to ask, what are the right questions to ask? And yet, how many of us have felt like, oh, I don't even want to participate because I don't want to ask a stupid question. I don't want to ask the wrong question. I don't want to take too long trying to get my question out. And an astounding piece of advice that I don't think I'll ever forget is about like problem solving. So I think like, oh, this could be a really, really big and extensive conversation because we're talking about on one end how to make sure that you're asking a coach or a professional the right questions, but we could also be looking at it from the angle of how you, as the coach, as the professional, making sure that you're asking the right questions of the person that you're wanting to help. There's a really awesome relationship dynamic just in here. But to start out, I really want to tackle this how to find your question. And I don't think I finished saying this. The brilliant piece of advice that has landed on me recently, all about success in entrepreneurship, and is when you can identify the problem, when you can really write down what the problem is, then you've already got most of the solution as well. Rory, what do you think?
I feel like handing the whole thing over to you. What I hear with the question is this thing that's very popular right now, your why. Your why. Why do I get up in the morning? Why did that happen? Those are more old school kind of things, like why did that happen? Why isn't he calling me? We kind of know in the more advanced kind of mental place that we are in now with Siren Island and everything else that Siren School is stop questioning why something happened at, in the pursuit of finding who to blame, who to make at fault. I'm asking the question because I need to know what I did wrong. Anybody identify with that? That seems to be the impetus behind all the questions we ask. What did I do wrong? How can I blame myself more? How can I blame him? Is it my fault or is it his fault? It's like figuring out all of these elements of guilt and regret and embarrassment are answered by questions that somebody else is going to answer, which ends up being approval seeking, which ends up being all the things that we're here to not be anymore. And I'm right with you. I mean, I'm an approval seeker from babyhood. It's all survival related. So if you're thinking of questions, ask yourself, why am I asking this question? What is my why? Why am I asking this question? Can be a whole solution to, wait a minute, I'm asking a question to be strategic. Am I in my masculine energy? Am I in my feminine energy? Am I radically accepting myself? Am I trying to find some place to blame? And I believe that like 90% of our energies go into this. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Into scoping out, something so we can feel settled within ourselves. So when you start to want to ask a question, what I'd like you to do is go in and ask more questions about the question. So it's more like, I want to know what a man does, blah, 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 one of the, are you really curious about a global thing, or do you just want to solve what just happened with him so you know who to blame and how can you let yourself off the hook? All of those things. So ask all those questions first about the question. Because what happens is when someone asks me a question at all about something that's happened or something general, something future, I want to just dive in and say, what it is you want right now. And if it comes up, I want to understand what happened there. That's really a great clue. Try substituting, and it sounds not big. Try substituting. Why did that happen? Why? So try substitute. For what reason did that occur? See if that feels, just feel it in your body. Say, if you want to say why, say what reason, for what reason, and feel it. My body starts to relax. What happens to yours when you ask yourself, for what reason? Is it also saying to yourself, what happened there and who was to blame and how can I feel better? Or is it saying to you, what did I learn from that? What was a lesson? Oh, now I'm feeling like crying. What was it? And we can even say, it wasn't a lesson. There aren't any lessons. We're not being tested. Depending on what your life philosophy is, you could say, well, this was just the way the earth works. This is just the way a non-spiritual humanist existence works. Things come and go. That's it. Mistakes are made. Things happen. I just keep moving on. Well, that to me is lovely. However, I don't know a single person who can function well with that. And that is the conundrum. Anybody feeling that? The conundrum is, I would like to just radically accept that. I would like to just know for what reason. I would like to learn from it. I'd like all those spiritual, highly elevated ways of examining, right? Oh, and I'm not using my good microphone. I just realized that. Well, when we do the second one, give me a moment to rejigger, and let's hope that I'm sounding decent in this one. Can you hear me all? Am I quiet or am I loud enough?
I can hear you. I can
All
hear
right, well, we'll just keep going with this one. So ask yourself again, if I just try to go, for what reason? What did I learn? Okay, I'm going to let my feelings pass by. It's going to be all right. All that stuff. I'm going to give affirmations. I can handle this. It's great. How does that all feel to you? How does it land for you? Does it feel empty and dark? Does it feel, I could just keep going. This is just life, in my opinion. And I just want to share this with all of you. And I'd love you to write comments. I'd love you to write to me personally. I'd love to do a big, major discovery of how you are all feeling, because I know that I go back and forth and move around. Yes, I feel like trying to see everything in a higher perspective. Yes, yes, this higher self perspective. My feeling is that it goes back and forth. Sometimes I want to find God. Sometimes I want to find goddesses and a higher state of my consciousness. Sometimes I want to see dead people and things in my dog. I wear his collar constantly because I feel his presence this way. And then just, hey, I'm just here on this planet. Awesome. Yeah, there's electricity. Yeah, there's all this stuff. Oh, look at the trees. Oh my God, how magnificent that is. That's good enough. In my experience, those feelings and insights and approaches, and I'm going to use the word approach here as an approach to a perspective. My perspective. Yeah, well, the perspective is something you choose, right? You're going to choose your perspective. So why would you use the word approach? This is what artists use. How do I approach painting that water lily? How do I approach it? Do I start from the outside in, the big parts, or do I start doing the little parts? How do I approach a design? Try that word, approach. How do I approach my perspective on what is happening and what I know and what I don't know and what I want to know and the feelings that I have in a way that, and here's the big bell, feels the best to me right now? So once you get into that, and what I'd like to hear from you is what happens if if you feel tied up in a knot, get out, go for a walk, change your environment. First thing, and then say, I am approaching this. What is my approach? Not why. Is it helpful to ask myself why? Do I feel better when I say why? And how do I answer that? And the way do I answer it in that moment, how does that feel? Does it feel better with, yeah, I really screwed up? Or does it feel better with, oh, this is so sad? Or that asshole? Or what feels best? And a lot of things are passing, right? If you understand riffing, you're going to feel anger one minute and then sad the next. And then, oh, you'll get up and go, oh, I'm hungry. And then it will shift constantly. So I want you to explore, give yourself 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, in the middle of a day, stop and see what feels best for you, and not just for you whole, but for you in that moment. Now, if you're a journaler, go ahead and write it down. I want to be a journaler, but I am not. I write like crazy. And I do have a little notebook. And instead of like sitting down and journaling, I jot stuff down in the moment and I write it down on my phone. So I invite you to do that. If you have an insight, oh, this felt better, call up your phone and call up your notes and just talk into your phone and save it. If you have a journal app, try that. They're too official for me. They may be right for you. If you have a little notebook, I can bring out one of my notebooks, but they're just little paper things. So they're not complicated or complex. They don't have headings and all designs. And I need to use a pen because the pencil doesn't really do it. And I just make the notes, I jot them down, and I just keep going page after page. It is impossible to go back and make sense of it that way. And I'm all for that because the approach is in the moment, right? All right, so now we've covered that why. Now let's go with the big why. What is your big why? Why do I get it? Why? And stop it. Stop that why. What am I here for? What? Just ask this. What do I want? Just make that your sentence. Forget whys. What do I want? And you may ask yourself, Raquel, I'm bringing you back in. Oops. Ask yourself, if I ask that question, why, however I answered in the moment, whatever my approach is, did that feel good? Or if I say, what do I want? Does that feel better? I would venture that if you are finding yourself tied up mentally and in your masculine energy and thinking when you just want to be feeling, being a feeler is a personality type.